The first thing Lyra felt was the cold. It touched her skin like thin ice, biting and sharp. She opened her eyes slowly, afraid of what she might see above her. The ceiling was metal, dark and smooth. Lights ran in thin lines across it, glowing soft white. She was lying on a hard surface, not her ship, not her bed. Her heart began to pound. The last memory came back like a broken picture. She remembered her ship flying through the black sea of space, her hands on the controls. Then a sudden flash, blinding, and the sound of something tearing, voices on the com shouting warnings, explosions. Then nothing. Now she was here, a prisoner. She sat up slowly, her head heavy. The room was small, 4 walls of steel, no windows, no furniture except the metal bed she sat on. In one corner, there was a strange glass door. Behind it, she could see another room, but it was dark. Her breathing grew fast. Stories from her home world filled her mind, stories about humans. She had heard they were hunters. She had heard they ate the flesh of other creatures, even intelligent ones. Her people told younglings to stay far from Earth ships. They will trap you, the elders said. They will eat you, the soldiers said. She thought she had been ready for war, but she had not been ready for this, for being taken alive. A sound broke her thoughts, footsteps, heavy, slow, echoing in the hall beyond the door. They were coming closer. Her heart thumped against her chest like it wanted to escape. The footsteps stopped. There was a soft hiss, and the door slid open. Light from the hall spilled into her room. A figure stepped inside, tall, broad-shouldered. A human. Lyra froze. She had never seen one this close. The human wore white clothing, clean and smooth. His face was strange, flat compared to her. Kind, with short brown hair. His eyes were sharp but not angry. He carried something in his hands, not a weapon, at least not one she recognized. It was round, small, and steamed in the air. He held it out toward her. The smell reached her first, warm, soft, nothing like the sharp scent of meat. She stared at it. Was this a trick? Her people said humans used clever traps, offer food, make you lower your guard, then strike. The human spoke. His voice was deep, the words strange and rough. She didn't understand. He tried again, slower. Still, the meaning was lost to her when she didn't move. He stepped forward. Lyra's muscles tightened. If he attacked, she would fight, even without a weapon, but he only set the round food on a small tray near her bed. Then he stepped back. For a long moment, they stared at each other. She saw no hunger in his eyes, no fire of a predator, only something else. It almost looked like concern. The human tapped his chest. "Evan," he said clearly. Then he pointed at her. Lyra didn't answer. He pointed again, tilting his head. Waiting, slowly she spoke her name, Lyra Evans. Lips curved upward, a strange movement she knew humans used. A smile. It was not what she expected from an enemy. He looked at her one last time, then turned and walked out. The door closed behind him with a soft click. Lyra was left in the cold room. Her eyes moved to the food. Steam still rose from it, carrying the soft, warm smell. She reached out slowly, her fingers brushing its surface. It was soft, almost like cloud bread from her home world. Hunger twisted inside her. She took a bite. The taste was gentle, simple, not poisoned, not spiced. For the first time since waking here, her fear changed. It was still there, but now mixed with something else, confusion. If humans were hunters, why give her food? Why speak his name? Why look at her like she was more than prey? In the quiet room, Lyra sat with the half-eaten bread in her hands, her mind turning over the questions. Outside the walls, the footsteps faded away. Somewhere deep inside, she felt the strange truth. Her story here was only beginning. The unexpected meeting. The next time the door opened, Lyra was ready, or at least, she thought she was. She had stayed awake through the long dark hours. Her mind had been building plans. If the human came closer, she would strike fast. She would take his weapon, if he had one, and escape. But when the door slid open, it wasn't Evan this time, it was something stranger. A small floating machine entered first, round, shiny. With a single glowing red eye in the center, it made a soft humming sound. Lyra's first thought was that it was a spy. Her second thought, it was watching her. The machine hovered in front of her face. It tilted like it was curious. Then it spoke, not in the human language, but in hers. "Do not be afraid," it said, in a voice that was soft but cold. "I am here to translate." Lyra stared. She had heard of translation devices, but never one that floated like a living thing. Before she could speak, the human Evan stepped inside. Now it was different. Now she could hear his words in her own tongue. "Are you hurt?" The machine translated. Lyra's mouth opened, but no sound came. No human had ever asked her that before. "I brought more food," Evan said. The translator repeated his words in the same flat tone. He set a small plate on the tray. Not just bread this time, a bowl of warm soup with pieces of green and orange floating inside. "Why?" Lyra finally asked, her voice low. "Why feed me? Why not kill me?" Evan's face shifted. Not anger, not joy, something more serious. "You are not my enemy," the translator said. "Your war is not mine." The words hit her harder than she expected. Not his war. But the humans had destroyed her fleet. They had taken her ship. She had seen their fire in space. What did he mean? She almost asked, but then she saw his hands. They were not empty. He held a small object, a photograph. He placed it on the tray beside the food. It showed a group of humans standing in front of a green field. One of them was Evan, younger, smiling with a woman and a small child. "This is my family," the translator said. "They are far away now," his voice, even through the machine, sounded heavier. "They will not see me for many years." Maybe never. Lyra didn't know what to say. The stories about humans had never included this, that they could miss someone, that they could feel the same ache as her people when family was gone. The translator's eye dimmed slightly. "Evan stepped back toward the door. "Eat," it said. "I will return." The door closed, but this time, Lyra didn't feel only fear. She felt something else, the first threat of a connection she had never expected. Strange kindness the next morning, if it was morning at all in this metal place. Lyra woke to a faint sound. Not footsteps, something softer, like paper sliding against paper, when her eyes opened. She saw Evan sitting on the floor outside. Her glass door, no guards, no weapons, just a small bag beside him. The floating translator hovered between them, its red eye blinking slowly. Evan wasn't looking at her. He was drawing long lines on a white sheet, sheep she couldn't understand. Every few seconds, he glanced up, then back to the paper. Lyra sat on the bed, watching. Finally, Evan held the paper up. "Through the translator," he said. "This is where I live." She saw a wide, green land with tall plants. Grass, she thought. And a bright blue river. A yellow circle in the sky that could only be their star. It was beautiful, but also strange. She had never seen water in such a wide open space. On her world, it was always underground, hidden from the burning winds. He began another drawing. This one was a cluster of dots connected by lines. "Stars," the translator said. He pointed to one bright spot on the edge. "Earth," then. Pointed to another far-off dot. "You," Lyra leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "You know where my home is?" She asked. "Yes," came the translated answer. "Then send me back," she said quickly. Evan paused, looking at her in a way she didn't like. "I can't," the translator said. Her heart sank. "Why?" Evan didn't answer at once. Instead, he reached into his bag and pulled out another object, a small, clear stone that glowed faint blue inside. It pulsed like it had a heartbeat. When he placed it on the floor, it rolled toward the glass wall, stopping right in front of her. "What is this?" Lyra asked. The translator's voice was lower now. "It is a star seed," Evan said. "A map, but not for ships. For people. She didn't understand, not fully, but something about the way he said it made her feel uneasy for the rest of the day. Evan stayed there. He drew more pictures, not of war, not of weapons, but of animals, strange buildings, and the tall spinning towers humans used to catch the wind. Every time he finished one, he pushed it against the glass. For her to see, it was kindness, but it was also strange. Why show her all this? Why try to make her see his world? When the lights in the room dimmed for night, Evan stood up. He didn't take the blue starseed with him. It stayed there, glowing softly, watching her. Lyra lay on her bed, staring at the stone until sleep came, and in her dreams, she saw a road made of light, stretching from her home world all the way to Earth. Learning about each other. When Lyra woke, the glowing starseed was still there. It pulsed slowly, like it had been breathing all night. She didn't touch it. Something about it felt alive. The door slid open without warning. Evan stepped in, holding 2 metal cups. Steam curled from the tops, carrying a smell she couldn't name. The translator floated beside him, blinking awake as if it had slept too. "Drink," Evan said through the machine. "It will warm you." He slid 1 cup across the tray toward her. Lyra lifted it carefully. The liquid was dark and bitter, but the heat spread quickly through her body. She hated to admit it, but it felt good. Evan sat down across from her glass wall, sipping from his own cup. His eyes kept glancing toward the starseed. "You kept it," he said. Lyra frowned. "You left it." "It is not mine to keep," he answered. That made no sense. If it wasn't his, why had he given it to her? They began to talk, slowly at first, with the translator filling the gaps. He asked about her home. She told him about the twin suns and the violet deserts, the way her people carved cities into the sides of red cliffs. In return, he spoke of green fields, rain that fell from the sky, and oceans so large they swallowed the horizon. At times they laughed at each other's words. He could not believe she had never seen falling snow. She could not believe he had never seen a sandstorm that could swallow a city. But in between the warm moments, Lyra kept noticing little things. Evan never talked about the war. Whenever she asked, his eyes would drift to the starseed, and his voice would turn quiet. The translator's tone would flatten, like it was leaving something out. Finally, she asked, "What is it really?" "The starseed." Evan stared at it for a long time before speaking. "It is a bridge," he said. "Not for ships. For trust." She didn't understand, he added. "It will choose who can see the truth." The translator's words hung in the air. She felt a small shiver run down her spine. If this was a bridge, then where did it lead? And what truth was so dangerous it needed a glowing stone to show it? When Evan stood to leave, he gave her one last look. "Keep it close," he said. "One day, it will show you why you are here." The door closed. Lyra sat alone with the soft hum of the translator and the steady pulse of the starseed. For the first time since her capture, she realized she wasn't just a prisoner. She was part of something bigger, and she didn't know if that was a blessing or a trap. The starseed pulsed brighter that day, not fast, not loud, just enough for Lyra to notice. It felt restless, like it was waiting for something. When Evan entered, he didn't bring food this time. He brought a flat, black device. It was thin, smooth, and when he touched its surface, it lit up with moving images. The translator hovered closer, its red eye fixed on the screen. "I need you to see this," Evan said. The glass wall between them slid open with a hiss. For the first time, there was nothing separating them. Lyra hesitated, but stepped forward. Her bare feet touched the cold floor outside her cell. The screen showed stars first, then ships, her people's ships in neat formations. Her chest tightened. It looked like the start of the war. But something was wrong. The footage kept rolling, the ships open. Fire. First, Lyra's mouth went dry. "This is a lie," she said. Evan shook his head slowly. "It's a recording from your own command ships," the translator said. Her pulse roared in her ears. She wanted to argue. She wanted to call it human trickery. But then she saw something in the corner of the screen. The crest of her people's fleet. It was real. She had been told humans had attacked first, but here it was her people who had fired without warning. The video didn't stop. It showed human ships breaking formation, some damaged, some destroyed. It showed pods drifting in space, escape pods, carrying survivors. Evan's voice was calm but heavy. "I was on one of those ships," the translator said. "My family was not." Lyra's throat tightened. The man who had brought her food, who had smiled, had also lost everything because of her people. She stepped back. "If this is true, then why am I alive?" she asked. Evan looked at her for a long moment. "Because killing you would change nothing," the translator said. "But maybe you could change everything." The words sank deep into her mind. She didn't know what he meant, but when she looked down at the star seed hanging from a chain in his hand, she had a feeling it was connected. Evan placed the star seed back in her hands. Its glow was stronger now, almost urgent. "When it opens," he said, "you'll see the whole story." He turned and walked away. The translator followed. The door closed behind them, leaving Lyra alone again. But this time she didn't feel like a prisoner. She felt like a key to something far bigger than the war, and far more dangerous. The danger approaches. The alarm began as a low hum. Then it grew louder, sharper, until the walls themselves seemed to shake. Lyra was on her feet instantly. The starseed in her hand pulsed faster, matching the rhythm of her racing heart. The translator burst into life, its red eye flashing. "Evan is coming," it said without being asked. A moment later, the door slid open and Evan ran inside, his face tense. "They're here," the translator said. "Who?" Lyra demanded. "Your people," through the small viewing window at the end of the hall. She saw them, dark, jagged ships drifting closer, their engines glowing like angry eyes. Her people had found her. For a heartbeat, hope flared inside her chest. Then she saw the human soldiers rushing to defensive positions, weapons in hand, armor snapping into place. This wasn't a rescue, it was the start of another battle. Evan grabbed her arm, not hard, but enough to pull her attention. "If they fire, everyone dies," the translator said in a clipped voice. She stared at him. "They won't listen to you," she said. "They think you're the enemy." "They will listen to you," he answered. The starseed's glow surged brighter, almost blinding. "It's opening," Evan said. Lyra looked down and saw thin lines of light spreading across its surface like cracks. From inside, faint shapes moved, not objects but images. She saw flashes of the war from both sides, human and alien, not as propaganda, but as it truly happened. Every lie, every mistake, every unnecessary death. The starseed wasn't just a map or a bridge, it was a witness. Evan pressed something into her other hand, a small silver earpiece. "Put this on," the translator said. "It will send your voice to every ship out there." Her throat was dry. Her mind screamed at her to run, but through the glass, she could already see weapons powering up on both sides. They had minutes, maybe less. Evan stepped back, his voice steady. "If you don't speak now, there won't be anyone left to hear you." Lyra closed her eyes. The star seed's light spilled across her skin, and when she opened her mouth, the first words carried not just through the earpiece, but across the void between worlds. A new beginning. Lyra's voice trembled at first, but the star seed's glow seemed to steady her. It floated between her hands now, light spilling in every direction. Her words carried across the earpiece, past the walls of the human base, up into space where her people's ships waited with weapons ready. "I was taken prisoner," she began. Her voice was clear now, strong. "I thought humans would kill me. I thought they would eat me." She paused, letting the silence hold her words. "But they gave me bread, they gave me water, they gave me truth." The star seed projected images into the void. Her people saw their own ships firing first. They saw human survivors floating in escape pods. They saw Evan's family gone, and they saw her alive, unharmed, speaking freely. I was taught to fear them, Lyra said. But fear is not truth. War is not truth. We have both lost too much. On the command ship, her people's leader leaned forward. They had never seen their war from the other side. The truth struck harder than any weapon. Evan stood beside her, silent, his eyes on the glowing starseed. He knew this moment wasn't his. It belonged to her. Lyra's final words were simple. Go home, let them live, let us all live, for a long, endless heartbeat. There was no answer. Then, one by one, her people's ships powered down there. Weapons, the jagged silhouettes turned away, fading into the darkness between stars. The alarm inside the human base went quiet. Evan let out a slow breath. You did it, the translator said. But his eyes said more. Relief, respect, something unspoken. Lyra looked at the starseed in her hands. Its light dimmed now, its work complete. But she knew it was more than just a tool. It was proof that truth could survive even in the middle of war. She thought of the stories she had been told about humans. Predators, hunters, killers. But now when she spoke of them, she would tell a different story, not because they spared her life, but because they showed her how much it was worth. Somewhere beyond the walls of the base, the stars waited, and for the first time, they didn't look so far apart.